Hello. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. So good to be here. Apologies, I'm a little bit late. I was having a little spat with the Wi-Fi and the technology, but all seems to be going well. And I'm using that hotel Wi-Fi, so let's hope for the best. Can you guys hear me all right? Hello, everyone. Hi, Pale Horse 1111, Eternal Truth. What's good? The Art of Arts. So good to see everyone. I'm excited for today because the messages came through really, really strong. The things we're going to be talking about today, as you can see in the title. Um, 5 tips for just having these incredible states of consciousness. It's truly life changing, and it affects every area of your life. And even though it's just 5 tips, I know that it's going to be packed. Each tip is going to have so much. So it's going to be a lot more than just 5. Uh, but I wanted to kind of keep it simple. Hello, Leah. Ahoy, me hearty. I like your pirate speak. If you guys can just let me know. I'm assuming everything is going well. Connection's good. Sounds good. Yes, archangels assisting us always. Hi, Johnny. Greetings on the other side of the country. So beautiful, you guys. So we're going to dive right in. But before we do, I just want to take a moment, as you know, just to ground in, especially if you're here live or in the replay. I like to just ground in. It really helps these codes to sink in, when you're in a more receptive state, and it allows for all of us to tune in even more, to just really be present, because the presence is really the key. And I'm going to light this sage, and I'm going to hope that I don't set off the fire alarm a little bit just to get the beautiful vibes flowing. All right, beautiful ones. Hi, Ben. Good to see you, soul brother. Eternal Truth says it sounds good. Sometimes a little grainy, but not too bad. I'll take it. Because you know what? Before I came on here, yeah, it could have been way worse. It was literally, I don't know. I don't want to complain about technology because we all know how that goes. Lady Templar is asking some good questions about working on our chakras, liberating from duality, unconditional love, met your guides, and risen into 13th chakra system. That's really amazing, packed question. And you really nailed it, because all those things are things we're going to be touching on today. So I will come back to that. Thank you for asking. Thank you, Eternal Truth. I did enjoy my birthday. Best one yet, truly. I always intend that as well, that each birthday is only getting better and better. And, maybe it's partly my intention, partly the ascension, but it definitely keeps happening. It's like I'm seriously blown away by the things I am experiencing. And just wow, and that's why I want to share this. I kind of talked about this last week, but I really feel called to talk about it again, with a little more structure this time. And yeah, there's so many things that we could talk about when it comes to, accessing. And when I'm talking about accessing 5D, which I don't use that word too much, but it is true, that's one way to look at it. Accessing higher consciousness. What I'm really talking about is like continuously, like you're cultivating, you're building it. It's your soul's path. It's a path, it's a journey. It's not just having one experience and then going back to the matrix, or whatever. It's about the journey and long term, consistently doing these things that truly changes your consciousness, therefore changes everything in your life. It changes your state of being. So it changes how you perceive, how you feel, how you think, how you act, everything. So it changes your relationships, the work you do, just the way you go about your reality, your lifestyle. All of these things are continuously evolving. And it's just so incredible what we're able to tap into now with these energies on Earth, new energies coming on Earth from the sun, from you know, beyond this earth, new energies being anchored in from all of us, all of you beautiful ones, you know, all of us that are doing our best every single day to show up. And, you know, that's another thing I kind of want to say before I get into this too much, is just a reminder that wherever you are, though, is okay. It truly is. Wherever you are. Um, you know, I love, because it's just who I am. I love to talk about the progression a lot of times in my videos, the progression of the ascension, of our evolution, of our journey. I like to talk about these things, and I like to be kind of upfront and blunt. But I just want to remind you, like, wherever you are is okay. You know, I think that is like, what's the word? I can't think of the word. But that's kind of like the first thing I feel like you got to remember when you listen to anything like this, because you know, it's like this is always meant to, this isn't meant to brainwash you or to tell you what to think. This is meant to inspire you, to give you these light codes. You know, this is it to, you know, something for you to think about and chew on and contemplate in your own life, in your own world. And sometimes, if we make things wrong, you know, whatever it is, if we're having an experience or a feeling or a decision or anything, if we're coming at it and it's kind of an egotistical way, you know, a fear-based way to come from it, which is okay as well. That's what I'm trying to say. Is like, it's all okay, because I feel like that's a fundamental understanding when you go into like these things, because um, you know, and that's one of the things I kind of will touch on. I touch on in every video, is just learning how to navigate life without beating ourselves up so much. You know, I don't know about you guys. I see it a lot though, you know, in myself and in others. It's like this just inherent. It's so deep, you know, to just, it's so inherent to beat ourselves up with things. Uh, and it's like you come to a point when you start to observe, yeah, like I'm really doing that. Like, why am I beating myself up so hard for every time contrast comes in my life? I beat myself up. Like, can we observe that and realize, like, you're just adding unnecessary layers of looping? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm fearing doubt. You know, you could just take it at face value. Okay, I'm feeling doubt. Or you could go down this rabbit hole of like, oh, I'm feeling doubt. Why am I feeling doubt? I shouldn't feel doubt. You know, like, this is horrible. And that goes with anything. Like, how much of our suffering is just simply feedback loops? It's not even what's happening around us or within us. It's the fact that, usually unconsciously, we go ahead and we start looping on it. And that's been a big message that's been coming in for me lately, is like, just keep moving, keep flowing, keep going. You know, it's not personal. Just, you have to keep moving. You know, that's really what it is. You know, and even, you know, it's just, it's so beautiful. So yes, I like to start this off too, before we get in too deep, just with a nice deep breath, maybe even an audible exhale. As you can tell, I am pretty jacked up. I feel pretty excited for this, but it's so good to just, you know, ease into that and relax into that. And just, I always encourage, you know, just peace and relaxation while you're listening to this. I know many of us, you know, are just out here, what do they say? Uh, Kicking ass and taking names or something like that. So it's good to just take this time, you know, as much as you can, to really just breathe and relax and receive. That's always my goal, is to send so much love, you know, as much light and information through these transmissions every week. So, hello, everyone. Hello, Bovin. Good to see you. Beautiful one. Arcade Alchemist. Leah Templar. I love the hearts, the heart with the flames. Viluvia, beautiful sister. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Hi, Cody. Scarlet Spider. Another beautiful channel I recommend. Yeah, you just keep going. Thank you, Transco du jour, for the beautiful 999. Thank you so much, Antane Ashman in the house. So beautiful, so beautiful. Beautiful plant medicine in the house. How awesome. Okay. All right. I love you all so much. Thank you for being here again. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm excited for this one. So yeah, let's just breathe and ground in and just let these energies move and flow. So before I even get into the tips, I just want to also say, just a reminder. I was listening to this video recently from a channel of these beautiful people called A.U.R.A. and Saman on YouTube. And, really, really awesome channel, really beautiful twin flame couple. And I don't know, they really, I want to kind of riff off some of the things they were sharing because it's really, really important right now. And they were talking about the soul path and, you know, the soul's perspective of things. And I feel like this is really just a quick reminder before I get into these tips is, sometimes I think we can get caught up in the material, but not just the material, but also, what am I supposed to be doing? Like everyone is looking for their soul's purpose, right? Maybe you found it and you're continuing to deepen it, or maybe you're still looking for it. And sometimes that can be frustrating for souls. It can be frustrating for people. Well, what am I supposed to be doing? Am I supposed to have a YouTube channel? Am I supposed to be a healer? Am I supposed to do this? Am I supposed to do that? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? And they were encouraging you to think just in a new perspective where your soul doesn't necessarily think of it like that. Like your soul is here to evolve and learn the lessons, do the healing, assist humanity. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with pursuing these things. That's not what I'm saying. That's how we express ourselves. That's how we find these avenues to follow our soul's path. Again, whatever it may be for you. Again, whether it's music, going on a YouTube channel, being a healer, like all of these things are very beautiful and noble. But just a reminder that it really also though it comes down to like doing the inner work with any of these things, because no matter what you're doing, that's where your evolution really is. And that seems kind of abstract. The ego doesn't even like that, really. Honestly, it's the ego that doesn't really like that. The ego is like, well, I want to do this and I want this success and I want to do that. But just a reminder that, you know, it's really actually at the core of it, a lot of it is really more about the inner work. It's about coming here and healing, learning these soul lessons, healing this ancestral line that you incarnated into, for yourself and for the whole collective. That's really because it's that work. And this is where it's funny. It gets a little bit funny, but it's that work actually going to bring you the success, in everything that you're doing. We talk about manifestation, it's a big part of, it's creation. It's a big part of why we're here. It's fun. It's beautiful. It's expansion. And that's, but it's so beautifully just endlessly interconnected with our inner work. All of the things we're trying to create and bring forth and build and birth into this world, into our lives, into this reality is so interconnected with our healing journey. And it's really helpful to remember that, because again, it's a little trick sometimes the ego will do where we think, okay, I need to manifest this thing. And of course, go ahead and manifest that thing. But really the key is actually remembering, like, it really is about alignment. So it's like, healing these things that will naturally come up anytime you try to manifest. You might have lack come up, you might have unworthiness come up, you might have fear, doubt, anger, whatever things that are going to come up. And I just really encourage, this is something I've been seeing a lot, is to find the joy in that, truly to find the joy in that, and to stop being kind of so fooled by like the smoke and the mirrors of the material manifestation. Nothing wrong with that. That's not what I'm saying. It's more, um, it's more saying, remember, because it's actually the inner work that's creating the manifestation. And it's actually the inner work of why the soul is really here, really, like if we're being honest. So like you're trying to manifest something, and I've been there where you can feel like a little bit desperate or a little bit antsy or a little bit, whatever the case may be. Oh, but I need this thing. Oh, I'll be satisfied when, I'm, serving people in this way. And again, that's a beautiful thing to aim for. But again, it's like you can't escape the fact that it comes back to the present moment and where you're vibrating at now. So it's like, what's the difference between, this thing you're trying to manifest and where you are now? Maybe and this is actually a key code, this is really, really helpful when you see it like this. So it's like, what's, because we want to create things that we think will bring joy, fulfillment, happiness, freedom, security, service, all of these things. And so a big key in that is starting to, in the present moment, and it's a practice, starting to cultivate that into our being now. So if you have, for example, you're trying to manifest this thing and you're feeling like angsty or desperate, that's the work. That's the work. It might not seem correct connected to the ego, but that's literally the work, is how can I start to come into alignment, and in a way, maybe even soothing yourself, healing that part of you that feels that doesn't feel like that already is, if that makes sense. Something my guides were saying is like finding joy in the wait, like finding joy in the wait for what you're trying to create, because waiting is actually a really funny word. Because and I don't know why I'm going to law of attraction stuff, it's just coming up, but again, creation is so important, but we're waiting. When you're waiting, you're it's like in a way you're interacting with a medium. It's called time, that exists, but it also doesn't really exist. It's like they say, it's like everything you want to create literally already exists, in the quantum field of infinite timelines, infinite possibilities. And that's why it's a matter of aligning yourself with it in the present moment now, which again involves starting to allow yourself to cultivate these higher states that I'm going to be talking about, cultivating these higher states of harmony, of love, of peace, of satisfaction, of joy, of abundance, freedom, and I'm using a lot of words, but ultimately it's love. It's all connected. So really bringing that into your field now, into your magnetic field now. So I just wanted to talk about that. Just a reminder, thinking of it more from a soul's perspective, because it just helps ground. Sometimes we can get really in our minds and abstract about creating and manifesting things. And, I feel like that can be a reason for, um, you know, again, like those feedback loops. It's like, well, I want this thing, but I want this thing, but I want this thing. And it's such a funny thing, because then it's like we're remaining in this wanting. I want it, I want it, I want it. So, long story short, again, you can't fool the universe. You can't fool the energy. You can't fool the consciousness. You know what I mean? You can fool yourself, but you can't fool, you can't fool your consciousness and your higher self. And thank God, it's a blessing. It might frustrate our ego sometimes, but it's a blessing. That we can't bypass these things, because they are there for a really important reason. So yeah, that's all connected. So beautiful. Let's dive into it now with, again, just being in these higher states. And again, because being in these higher states is, again, what changes everything in your life. It's what opens the door. And when I talk about, tips for cultivating higher states, we could literally write books, and people have, write books and books and books on this. So I only picked 5 that were coming up really strong for this collective right now, everyone that's listening. And, again, within each 5, there's probably going to be lots of other tips within the tips. So I'm just going to trust it. But, feel free to add your own tips in the chat or in the comments if you feel inspired to, use your voice and share, and, it'll assist other people as well. Because there's so many ways, and you're always going to find your own ways. But to just have that aim, just keep aiming upward and not being discouraged by going downward, it's not a bad thing. That's what I was trying to say earlier. It's like wherever you are, just let it be okay first and foremost, because you don't want it, because why get in a feedback loop if you don't need to? But even if you get in a feedback loop, it's okay, because you're learning, and that's what's most important. All right. So the first one, of course, is unconditional love. Cultivating unconditional love and integrity. Integrity is a key word that's been coming up right now, because integrity is so essential. Having integrity and being around people, starting to be around people who have integrity, people that, are going to be of their word, people who are going to do what they say they're going to do, people who are honorable and trustworthy. And being an honorable and trustworthy person, just because, it's so, so, so important to have integrity. I feel like that's such a key word. We're trying to build this new paradigm. We're trying to assist humanity. We're trying to, do our work individually and start to come together with other people who have the same goals as us, right? We really are doing incredible work. And so just remember, integrity is at the forefront of all of it. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, I feel like that's such a key reason that, so many, just for example, a lot of communities can fail is because of lack of integrity. So it's really, really important to be of your word, to have integrity, to care for the people you're working with, to be honest, things like that. Just period. With yourself, with others, always, you know. And again, even if you make a mistake, it's okay. Just own it and be honest about it. It takes a lot of courage for people to do that. Um, so that's fine. But in unconditional love, gratitude, and I could go into again a lot of words that for me are unconditional love, um, gratitude, joy, freedom, um, you know, all of these things, abundance. But it all comes back to unconditional love, and it starts with yourself. And I feel like a lot of people need this reminder. I think we all do, time and time again. It starts with yourself. It really, really, really does. You can't pour from an empty cup. And a lot of people have, I think, a distortion sometimes about unconditional love where they think it means they need to sacrifice themselves in order to make someone else happy. And that's not unconditional love, my beautiful friends. It's really, really not, because you have to love yourself unconditionally first. And that does include sometimes having boundaries with people, and it may upset them, and that's okay. You have to love yourself that much that that's okay. And I'm not saying be mean to people. You don't have to be necessarily brutal with people, but you have to be kind of unwavering, unconditional in that love for yourself. This can really confuse people sometimes. So really, really remember that you have to love yourself first. You really, really do. Just a reminder, because I know it can be hard, especially for many of us. We have had these in the past patterns of codependency, or, being the empaths, being doormats, whatever the case may be. Just remember, however you can, always love and love yourself first, because truly that's how you actually serve the most, loving yourself, because then you're going to have way more clarity and energy to help others. And and in fact, you loving yourself and being an example, even if it does trigger people, you know in a way, like, that's helping them too, whether they get it this lifetime or another lifetime. Like, you're just being an example of loving yourself, of having sacred boundaries, of being sovereign. You can't avoid the sovereignty is such a part of Earth curriculum. If you don't get the sovereignty, like, that's just, you got to get the sovereignty. In my perspective, you really, really do, because otherwise, I don't know, like, it's such a jungle. So if you're literally just gonna, like, be giving up your rights and not claiming your rights and not being aware of just forces that are gonna try to, like, get you, it's like you got to be sovereign. And again, that's unconditional love. To me, that's unconditional love. So remember that. And then, as you start to cultivate this love in yourself, which is, it's the first tip for a reason. This is the first and foremost. If you take anything away, this is the first and foremost, because this is everything. And I know it's listen, it's a practice, it's a journey, and it does work 100%. You know what I mean? It's like, this is like it's the chief cornerstone of everything. Like, as you practice more love, it may be frustrating sometimes, but I'm telling you, it's so worth it, because you just live in a whole new state of reality. You have so much love. It's like, because this is a thing I've really been thinking about lately, and I'm still thinking about this, is, when you have unconditional love, whatever is going on outside of you starts to, in a way, almost become irrelevant. And I'm not saying you're never going to have reactions, you have to respond to things and stuff like that. But more and more, the more you have unconditional love for yourself, really, the more the things around you don't affect you as much, or even have to at all. And that's like a level of mastery to get to, of why unconditional love is so powerful, because you're so connected to who you are. You're so connected to your inner God source. You're so connected to the universal force of unconditional love that permeates everything. What's going on around you, it really, really doesn't shake you. It's really, really powerful. And then on top of that, not only that, but as you have unconditional love, again, you raise your vibration, you have these higher states of consciousness. So I truly notice, like, again, with the sovereignty and shielding yourself in force fields of love light, which is essential, And again, it's not that challenges never arise, but the more you have this love, it's like the less undesirable things even seem to happen. But when they do, it's like it's fine. Again, we don't have to get in the feedback loop because I love myself. Oh, a challenge arises, big deal. I still love myself. I'm still going to have compassion for myself as I go through this process. And it's multidimensional. And someone recently asked me, like, what do you mean by multidimensional? It means that it's literally your multiple points of consciousness you are experiencing at once. And this is part of the ascension. It's very trippy. It really is. It's very trippy. But you more and more, this is always happening whether you're conscious of it or not. You have multiple, like, I guess you could say selves, like you have multiple points of consciousness. So you have, for example, your human self, like right now, but then you also have your higher self, which is, coming from a higher state where, it does, your higher self doesn't, like, for example, like your higher self doesn't get triggered. Your higher self is just, it's just observing, it's always there. It has like this really high consciousness of, like, in a way, it's like, it feels kind of like neutrality. It's just unconditional love, whereas, our human side is kind of sometimes all over the spectrum. We might be really happy. We might be really sad. We might be going down a rabbit hole. We could be doing all these things. And we could even be making mistakes. We could, or whatever, we could even be going downward. But what's interesting is when you have this multi-dimensional perspective, you can start to find yourself, even if you're doing something and, maybe something that's in a way pulling you down. Can you become conscious and observe those multiple points of consciousness at the same time? Because even just that observation will assist you greatly. It's like, oh, okay, like maybe I'm playing in these things, these lower things that aren't so inspiring to me. But then I'm also aware my higher self is up here still, just loving me and watching me and always there for assistance. And you start to literally, but it's you. Do you understand? That's why it's multidimensional. It's not separate. It's not, my higher self is someone else. It's like, no, it's literally who you are. And you're incarnated here, you know? And, we even have, it goes even more. There's many, many fractals of us. So it's like we are literally multidimensional. And as you become more and more in these high states of consciousness, you literally start to tap into it. And it's trippy as hell. And it's awesome, I gotta say. But the reason I talk about that is because that's unconditional love, So even if you're in something, a negative situation, whether it's something outside of you that's happening, or whether it's just within your own self, you're going through something, just having that awareness, that's unconditional love. And that's the force as you practice, everything is a practice. As you practice that and you walk that path, you literally start to go higher and higher and higher all the time. If you keep consistently practicing that, you start to go higher and higher all the time because it's that unconditional love that's spiraling you upwards. It's incredible experience and it's truly limitless. So yeah, and this is connected to some of the other things that we're gonna get into too, like so connected. I get, and I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, when you have this unconditional love, it's like you can self-regulate a lot easier, no matter what. It's kind of unconditional, so it's like something's going on around you or something's going on within you, which is fine. It's okay. We have these experiences. We're learning. We're growing. It's just contrast. It's just pain. That's another example of the feedback loop I was talking about. I was just thinking about today. It's like sometimes, we feel pain. And that's a normal part of being human. But it's funny how, like, when we feel pain, then we'll go into a loop of, like, inflicting pain upon ourselves. It's like, just feel the pain. It's fine. Just keep moving. Like, when you have this unconditional love for yourself, again, it's like you're just able to self-regulate more. And another thing I kind of want to touch on here is the magnetic fields, around us. We have electromagnetic fields, energy fields, auras, many different words for it, but they're real. They're very, very real. And it's something to think about because I was listening recently to, I don't know where to find it. It was, my partner was listening to it, but it was really, really good. It was Manly Hall talking about the magnetic fields around us. And I don't know when this was. I imagine this was like in the 50s or 60s, but really true points. And he's talking about how our magnetic fields, there's, in a way, this is how he framed it, is like there's a morality in our fields, and our magnetic fields is actually what is what is creating right and wrong, because it's like when you do something out of integrity, when you do something that's out of integrity, you're damaging your magnetic field. It's just how it is. The magnetic field is completely honest. The magnetic field is completely honest. It cannot lie. So you do something in your integrity, you do something of love, you do something to nourish yourself, you do something to nourish others, you're you're nourishing your magnetic field. And that's why the law of attraction exists. That's why karma exists. It's like it's all a beautiful, perfect system. And of course, there's people that have exploited this, but but even with these principles I'm speaking of, it's like our love, the integrity, the honesty, the truth is always way more powerful than that. We just have to remember that and practice this. So beautiful. Yeah. So I hope that made sense. I really recommend looking. I'm sure it's on YouTube or something, or I don't know. You could probably download it, but just about how the magnetic fields, just think about it. Everything has a magnetic field. You have a magnetic field. Your organs have a magnetic field. Even inanimate objects have magnetic fields. Everything has magnetic fields. Everything has frequency. These crystals have magnetic fields. Um, so you can tap into that and you can use that for your advantage and just start to notice. That's one way you start to open your third eye, really, is you start to notice the energy that is around things, because it's actually the energy around us that's creating us, our physicality. That's why energy work and Reiki is actually so powerful and important on your ascension journey, because it's your energy field. That's what creates the physical. So when there's stuff going on in your energy field, because that's something else he was saying, which is very true, is that your magnetic field is like, it gives you so much protection. It gives you so much protection from physical illnesses and infection. It gives, and that's again why I say tap into that natural truth. You already have a magnetic field of love around you, so start owning it and claiming it and really putting these love light force fields around you. It's so powerful. I think it's like the best medicine to me in my life. It really is the best medicine. Like, people ask me, do you take supplements? I don't. I really don't. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Sometimes I experiment with things, but ultimately it's the energy work that is my greatest supplement. Always. Always. Because it's these magnetic fields, again, that not only protect us from harm and evil, but it's also these magnetic fields that nourish us and give us love and give us light as we continue to tap into unconditional love, gratitude, integrity, honesty, truth. So really, really powerful to think about. And I'm kind of looking at the chat. I'm kind of like on my stream of consciousness, but I love everything that everyone's saying. I see a lot of people are aware of Manly Hall. That's awesome. So much good stuff. Thank you for sharing. Please keep sharing and assisting everyone. Okay, so the second one, I love this. I feel like this one doesn't get talked about enough, and it's so simple. So again, the unconditional love and integrity is the chief cornerstone no matter what you're doing or who you are. And then the second one is relentlessly pursuing happiness. And that is something that I've done truly all my life. And it's so important. It really is so important. Because when you find these higher states of love, of joy, of freedom. Freedom. Isn't freedom such a great frequency? I love freedom. It's actually freedom. I'm using the word happiness, but whatever, like, you know what I mean? It's like beyond words. Like continuously pursuing those high forces that, again, it elevates your consciousness and it changes your life. What can you do in your life to have more and more and more of that? Because that's when you're tapping. That's what the 5D, for example, the 5D realm feels like. It feels like that bliss. It feels like that peace, that joy, that freedom. That's what we're anchoring in. We're literally anchoring that into the earth, because we all know there's just been so much suffering. There's been so much sorrow and remorse and just deep, grief and sadness and shame and slavery. So it's like we're healing that, we're transmuting that, we're navigating that. That's the work. That's the soul's path, right? It's not just about being a successful healer. It's like, no, you're literally, everything you're doing as you start to spiral upwards, whether you feel like you are or not, everything you're doing is literally assisting, when you start to operate like this. So just remember that you already are on your purpose. But really, I think that's something I feel so blessed for in my life, is like, whatever it is, you're always, again, just pursuing joy, more like true pleasure, more fun, more laughter, more joy, more happiness, more forgiveness. These are the things that feel good. And it's connected to our magnetic field as well. These are the things that actually nourish your magnetic field, being in your integrity, forgiving yourself, forgiving others. Um, something that comes up a lot, especially lately, and we're going to get more into this one in a minute, is like, you can't, like, not half-assing these things. There's a saying, like, you can't, it's like, never half-ass anything, always use your full ass. But truly, again, even if you are half-assing things, like I said, wherever you are is okay, but more and more can you start to maybe think, like really be in it, like be all in, like really be committed to this, like, because when you try to half-ass things, you will experience that. You'll experience what that's like, when it's like, okay, I'm kind of experiencing this joy, but I'm still kind of just like really bitter about life. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's coming up a lot. So, um, the next thing I'll say, the next thing on that, I'm actually going to go to, because I feel like this is so related, is, so this will be the third one, because it's just flowing like that, is having faith, having courage, having grit, having the guts and the backbone and fortitude in your life. Come on. Literally, this is so essential. And I have to say, like, um, this one, I feel like this one might be the one that's coming up the strongest. Is, I don't know, they all come up really, really strong, but um, like really, really having faith, and being willing to take risks for yourself, being willing to make tough choices for yourself. Because listen, I don't know, just intuitively, I feel like a lot of people are, or are coming into a point in their life where maybe this is like specifically for you, but you know just really being able to jump when it's time to jump. You know what I mean? And that takes courage, that takes faith, it takes grit, determination. These are really virtuous qualities. um and again, it's a practice, it's something you cultivate. It's like, it's something that, it's like, again, kind of that warrior spirit of like, I'm going to create this, I'm going to create whatever this is. I'm going to create these higher states for myself. I'm going to, be more free, be more happy. I'm going to create this life of freedom and joy and service for myself and for all of humanity, for the earth. Because remember, it's not just about you, it's about everyone. That's the energy we're getting into. That's the age of Aquarius. That's the ascension. Always thinking that. The more you think in terms of, you know, how can I show up to serve others? Again, self love is always the first key. It's for yourself too. You're not sacrificing yourself in a way that's hurting yourself. But how can I show up as my best with my gifts, with my love, with my joy, and just serve? How can I manifest things that will bring me joy, that will serve humanity? If you really start to think in terms of that, you're really, really going to be blessed. I have to say, like, from what I see, from my experience, that's the key of the new energy we're getting into. So again, this is the courage. It's really the courage. I think this really is the biggest one of all, is truly coming into that. And because, there's a saying called, um, you know, God favors the bold. And I think this is true. It's like, I just really encourage, there's been many times in my life, I feel like that's another reason why when I look back, I feel so blessed, is like, I have taken risks. You do things that you don't know, and it's not just like you're being reckless. It's like, it's things your soul is guiding you towards, things that your soul maybe is guiding you towards, maybe letting go of things that aren't serving you anymore. And you're like, oh, but I've always had this thing. I've always done this. I don't know what's going to happen if I don't have this. I don't know if I can let this go. Having that warrior spirit of like, I'm letting go, period. I'm letting it go. I'm making a change. I'm going to do something different. To me, that's really been really, really important. And again, maybe it's just, I am an Aquarius. We're in Aquarius now, so it's perfect time to reinvent yourself. One of the things Aquariuses are known for is loving freedom. And again, I think that's always been my driving force in life. Always, always give me freedom. Literally give me freedom. I need the freedom. I will always pursue the freedom. I will do whatever I need to do to have freedom, internally and externally. Ever since I was young, I knew right straight out the gate pretty much that I'm not going to do things how other people are doing it. I'm just not, because another I guess little thing that's coming up that I feel very blessed is, I saw, um, many of us probably did, but I saw my parents suffer a lot. I have to say, I really did. I saw my parents suffer a lot, and so I feel like I was blessed to be able to learn from that, to be able to learn from them and learn certain things. Learn what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be, to learn that I don't want to sacrifice my freedom for anything. Because that's the most important thing. And I feel like I also learned that I got to follow my soul's guidance no matter what. I don't care, even if I'm like sleeping on the street or something, I got to follow my soul's guidance, because otherwise, for me, again, just the thought of being unfree, it's just no, like I have to pursue that freedom. And I know that might sound crazy, but truly, I think it's one of the things that has blessed me so much. So I just kind of, I don't know, I just want to share. It's like, again, that kind of goes back to relentlessly pursuing happiness. Again, I'm not saying you should be necessarily reckless, but there comes points when your ego wants comfort. A lot of times, there comes points when your ego wants comfort, period. Your ego wants what it knows. Your ego wants your security blankets all the time, and then there, and again, and that's the point when it's like, for me personally, it's like, take that risk, go for it, I know it can be so hard sometimes, and I have so much compassion, for everyone that's going through this, because even as I'm saying this, there are certain things where, for me, it hasn't been easy. It's like, oh my god, but I've just learned through experience, especially when it's hard, though, especially when it's hard to take that jump, and you take that jump, miraculous, miraculous things happening to you. Miracles are the norm when you put that amount of faith in God. And again, it's a practice. It's like sometimes I even do trust falls with the universe. I'm like, I have this guidance. I have, the universe says, hey, and I feel it in my heart, and we'll talk about that as well today. It's like, hey, why don't you go jump off this ledge into the water? And I'm like, what? What? I don't know. And just start practicing. I just start practicing doing that. And I have to tell you, truly, it's never led me the wrong way. It really never has. And I guess that's the thing with me, with the love of freedom, is it's like the fear of being stuck in the same patterns. To me, okay, that to me is way more scary than the unknown. Oftentimes, like, I want to keep moving, I want to keep evolving, and I know that, the universe has my back. So just a reminder, to cultivate that grit, that courage, backbone. I love these words, fortitude. Like, because you take these jumps, you take these risks for God, for the universe, out of your comfort zone. You're gonna be so blessed, and there's two other things that can happen when you don't do that. Is one, if it's something you're really meant to do and you won't jump, sometimes the universe, which is your higher self, really will actually eventually give you a little push, and then you're going to have to make the change anyways, and it's going to be probably harder because you resisted it when you could have just jumped by your own accord. Again, either one is fine. There's no judgment. You don't need to judge yourself. It's not that, you don't need to make yourself wrong if that's you. It's not that it's wrong. It's just, this is just observations I'm sharing. Or the second one is, sometimes you're just, in a way, honestly, you're just going to miss out. If you don't take the jump, you don't take the leap, you just keep playing it safe, in my opinion, you're really going to miss out, because there's also a lot of things where Your higher self and your guides are never going to force you to do anything, really. They're not going to force you to do anything. Like, they're not like, like you see nowadays, like teachers in some of these schools where they just, they keep telling you, like, you have to do this. Yet, I mean, I don't know how to say it. Like, you will get those nudges, but if you don't listen to those nudges and you don't take that chance, you don't take those, like, even little things, even you don't take little risks, um, little lunges for yourself, for your freedom, for your joy, for your happiness, for your ascension path, for your greatest and highest good, you don't take those jumps, your higher self, this is what I'm trying to say, they're not going to baby you. They're not going to baby you. They're not going to, like, just keep, you know what I mean? They're going to just be like, okay, they're going to honor your free will, and they're going to see that you're truly not ready for, you know, these things, and they're going to back off. And you know what I mean? That's why, like, the more you do this stuff, the more you tap in, the more they can interact with you. And it's your free will. Maybe you really don't want to make the change. Maybe you really do want to play it safe. Maybe that is your soul's lesson. Maybe that is what you are going to experience here. No judgment. I'm just saying, for many of us, we don't want to do that. We really don't. For me, again, I personally, the thought of that literally, like, makes me claustrophobic. It's like, no, like, I want to keep lunging forward. I really do, as much as I can. Um, Again, and it involves being brave. There's so many things, there's so many things I've done, and I just want to encourage people. I feel like this one is so strong, probably for some of the people listening, and maybe for people in your life. You can see it. You can see how, like, people really play it safe. They really won't go out of their comfort zone, and so they really miss out a lot, in my opinion. Like, they really miss out a lot, because and then and in a way, you kind of just get, a lot of times you just get pulled back into the matrix, because coming into 5D takes guts. That's another word for it. It takes guts, which is good, because it is solar plexus. It literally takes guts. Like, it's not for the faint of heart. It's really not. Some of these things will seriously scare the shit out of you on your spiritual journey. And again, having that fortitude to just keep going, no matter what. Even if you literally have to, like, tiptoe through the tulips. Just keep going, have that courage, have that bravery, take those risks. I'm telling you, it's always going to bless you. You jump off that cliff, you're going to dive into some crystalline waters. And again, I just can't emphasize it enough. It's really such a blessing to come out of your comfort zone. There's really nothing to lose oftentimes. A big example that comes up so often right now, and I know it's for a reason, is, for example, using your voice more in your life. And again, this can be however it applies to you, apply it to you. But just again, as an example, using your voice and speaking, for example, on YouTube, or making videos, or social media, there's a lot of beauty in everybody's voice when they start to go on this path, especially the quiet ones. There's a lot of beauty in that. And a lot of times there's so many excuses for why people don't want to use their voice. And again, this is a perfect example. Is like, a lot of times your guides aren't going to make you. They're going to say, okay, they're not ready. They won't do it. And again, that's fine. But do you know what blessings might come if you take the jump? Put yourself out there when you're ready. Just do it. Because this is the thing, is like, a lot of times when it comes to coming out of your comfort zone, there's never going to really be a time when it's going to be easy. Like, you just have to push yourself. And this is an important thing as well. And, we're going to also talk about guidance. And in fact, I guess let's bring this up now. It's really important to start to have this discernment of, like, between your ego and your higher self. So yeah, there's times when, for example, your ego, there's times when maybe your higher self is saying, like, it's really not time yet. And then you don't want to try to force it, because then it might not work out. But at the same time, but then learning to discern between that, and learning to discern between, it is time, but your ego is just resisting it because it just doesn't want it. It doesn't want to take the risk. It doesn't want to take the jump. It doesn't want to come out of its comfort zone. There's always going to be an excuse. And I feel like that is the one to really, really watch out for most people, because you'll use that as an excuse. Oh, well, it's not time yet. It's like, you know, be brave. In conclusion, be brave, be courageous. Again, these words are forces. Having a backbone, having that grit, having those guts to do it. Take the risk, take the jump. Again, otherwise, like, you don't want to be stagnant. To me, I guess that's the key part of what I'm trying to say. You know, it's like, to me, that stagnation is scarier than the unknown. And again, I can tell you in my own experience, every time I've ever taken a jump for my higher self, every single time, no matter how big or small, it's always been a blessing. And it has a lot to do with why I'm here right now. And, you know, why I'm having these amazing experiences I'm having is because I've always taking those jumps, you know, taking those jumps for God. Yeah, so important. Yeah, again, I don't know why. I just feel like that's the biggest one that's coming up right now. So really, you know, that's something to really ponder upon, and be brave. Put yourself out there. Because again, like, a lot of these things, your ego will literally hold you back. And there's really, again, that's okay. It's your free will, but like, there's so many blessings for you and for all who are going to be exposed to you when you start doing these kinds of things, when you start being more brave, when you start taking those jumps. Again, even if this sounds really crazy to you, even just baby steps, just you know, little things, little tiny things. And that's how you, it's a practice. All of these things are a practice. That's what I'm saying, you know. It's not, you know, most of the time you don't just wake up and all these things are like boom. It's like practice, practice. And again, that's really, again, the grit, that's where the grit comes in, is like the determination comes in. It's like, I'm gonna do this. You know, I'm gonna cultivate unconditional love in my field, and I'm gonna be a powerhouse for God's source. Even if I literally have no idea how I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that. And I'm not gonna worry about how. I'm just gonna start right now. And when you have that attitude about things, that's the faith. Because that's, guys, listen, this is really how it works. I'm telling you, this really is how it works. Um, it's always gonna be worth it. This stuff, this inner work blows me out of the water with, you know, sometimes it feels like, is this ever gonna pay off? It will. I'm telling you, because then you hit these moments in your life that are so profound and so surreal and so amazing. It's like, I would have done all of that all over again just to get here. It really is like that. So the risks, take the jumps. What is there to be so afraid of? You know, honestly, like, a lot of these things, you know, for example, again, going back to this example of using your voice and starting to share your voice, share your experience, share your stories with people. What is the worst that could happen? Honestly, nobody's going to listen. People might laugh at you. People might not see you. People might not understand you. You know, think of that, because that's, and I understand, like, that can be really daunting, but it's like, is it really that big of a deal? And that's what I mean, again, when it's like, those are the areas where the inner work is. And it's so worth it to pursue that inner work. You know, in that case, getting to that point where you love yourself. And this is the next tip, actually. This is the next tip. They're all so connected, but let's just get into, I think this is the fourth one, right? The fourth tip is not caring what people say about you or think about you. Not caring what people think about you. Literally, this is a whole tip today. It's its own tip, because it's also coming in really, really strong for anyone who needs to hear it. Just a reminder. And again, we all know this, but a lot of times on your journey, even if you overcome these fears of, oh, what will people think of me because I'm a fucking weirdo, story of my life, um, you know, it can sometimes manifest in more subtle ways. Um, you know, again, with this example of sharing your voice, oh, what are people going to think about me? Again, just take that jump. That's my personal advice. It's just, it doesn't, you, because, you know, logically, it doesn't matter what people think of you. I mean, we all want to be socially accepted in a way. Like, we all want social connection and community. There is truth to that, you know, and there can be reasons for that, you know. It's like, but ultimately, you know, if you're listening to this and you have something on your heart that would benefit the world. And I'm sure it would. You might have that ego and that doubt saying, oh, it's not going to matter, but it will, you know, because nobody is you. Nobody has your stories. And especially if you are coming from a place of love, you are coming from a place of truth. Your voice is needed. Honestly, we need as much as we can. You know, in these times, we need as much as we can, even if it only reaches one person. Even if it literally doesn't reach anyone, but you took the initiative to put yourself out there, that alone is going to bless your life and inherently bless others' life, because even that alone, you know, you're starting to practice your courage. You're starting to practice your voice. You're starting to open up your throat chakra. You know, you're gonna start doing these things, and it's just so important. So yeah, that was its own thing. Don't worry about what people will say. Just be you. As long as you're coming from love, that's really what's important. And you know your intentions. Think about all the crazy psychopaths in this world that literally broadcast to millions of people with no remorse lies and things that actually harm people. They have no remorse. Think about it. Just saying. So, why should you feel so weird about just sharing your voice? You know, just sharing your love. You know, there's really no excuse not to. But again, those doubts, those fears, they try to hold you back. But so just think, you know, that's just another way to look at it. You know, it's like your voice is so needed. I think there's a lot of people listening that your voice is needed. Your voice is important. And I'm not saying that to put pressure on you in a stressful way, but it is a divine pressure. And that's something I've had to learn through my work. And I'm still learning. You know, I'm still learning these things. I still, you know, go through some of these things. And it's just a reminder that um, you know, you just have to keep going forward with it and be in your integrity, because it's not even about external validation. It's not about people patting you back. It's certainly not about the numbers at all, because they mess with the numbers. You guys know that, right? Like, don't worry about the numbers. It doesn't matter if it's no zero, doesn't matter if it's 10, 20, 30, 30 million. Like, it's not about that. It's about the ripples that you're putting out there. It's really not about the numbers, and that's really an ego thing that egos can get stuck on. Well, oh, it's only so many people. Doesn't matter. Literally doesn't matter at all. That's such an ego thing to get stuck on. You know, I mean, it's good to aspire to reach more people with your love, but don't get hung up on these types of things, because it's not really what it's about. You know, so yeah, that's really the key. Just be you. You are needed. You don't want to underestimate, because a lot of people will also compare themselves to others, or they'll say, well, this person's already doing what I want to do, so I'm really not that important. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, question the voice that tells you that kind of shit, because everyone is unique. Everyone has a different medicine to bring. Everyone has their own experiences. You might compare yourself to someone you think is better than you, and there's going to be people that won't resonate with that person at all, but they see you and they might be really inspired by you, because they might relate to you. You might not even know why. It might literally be the tone of your voice. It might literally be just like your energy. You don't know. A lot of these things we don't even understand. You know, we don't even understand the medicine and the love that we bring through our natural, authentic expressions. So yeah, that one's coming in really, really strong. So just remember that your guides, your higher self is going to show up for you as much as you're going to show up for them. So if you take these moves and you be brave, even if just little things, you start to get the momentum going a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You start to put things out there. You start to just crack out of your comfort zone. You're going to be blessed. And then you're going to start feeling this heaven on earth. And you're doing it not just for yourself, but for all of humanity. You're going to be blessed. I'm telling you, you're going to feel heaven on earth. You know, I think that's one of the core reasons why I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing, you know? So just remember that. It's powerful stuff. And another thing I want to say on this note too is, again, being you. This is so powerful, you guys. It's like, can you just show up and just be who you are and say, for me, I am Regan Keely. I am Regan Keely. This is what I am. This is who I am. This is what I stand for. Not everyone's going to agree with it. Not everyone's going to like it. Not everyone's going to understand it. Who cares? It's okay. It's not my job to force people. I'm not the thought police, you know. It's not my job to be likable. It's my job to be me. It's my job to assist however I can, to be who I am, to use my gifts, to use my talents, and to share this love. It's a divine pressure. You know, it's that divine pressure that's saying, you know, evolve, evolve. Again, and I'm not saying this in a way that's like to force you or to stress you out, because wherever you are right now is okay. Don't beat yourself up. It's okay. It's all right. You know, it's just that divine pressure. It's not meant to scare you. It's meant to motivate you ultimately. That's really what it's about. You know, who are you? Who are you? Stand again and again. This is so connected to having a backbone. Like, who are you? Are you going to cower every single time somebody questions you? Because listen, when you're doing meaningful stuff, there are people who are going to try to come at you sometimes. There are going to be times when people might make you question your own integrity. You know, you might get triggered. Things like this happen. But again, it's like that's the key, and that's the evolution of the self mastery, to be like Jesus Christ, to be like Mary Magdalene, to be like, I am who I am. It doesn't matter who likes it or doesn't like it. You know what I mean? People worry about that way too much. And I understand, because I've been there too. One of the themes of my whole life is in this life is using my voice, learning to use my voice, because many of us have been very suppressed. And it's such a sacred thing. It's a sacred gift to use your voice. I think everyone should use their voice, you know, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe it's making videos, maybe it's something totally different, you know. But whatever it is, you have a voice, you have a gift. Who cares what people are going to think about you? This one really messes can be really like tricky. I feel like this one can really mess people up. They really worry about what people are going to think about them. Who cares? Seriously, who cares? You know, be a weirdo. Let your freak flag fly. Be original. Be unique. All the greatest always are they not? All the greatest are always unique. You know how much, you know, people like people worry about that way too much. People try to be like other people, and it's just such a mess. Just be you, because you have your own medicine for sure. And another thing, and this is the last thing I'll say about this one, is because when you are you, there's a few things that are going to happen. When you start showing up as who you really are, unapologetically, who cares what people think? Literally be you. And understand, I'm not saying be mean and brutal to people. It's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, don't be a doormat. It's about being in the middle. Like, there is a really beautiful middle where it's like, you don't need to be brutal and rude to people, but at the same time, you don't need to cower every single time somebody is jealous of you or every single time somebody's triggered by you. Because that's usually what it is. When people try to tear you down, a lot of times it is jealousy, but a lot of times we'll take it on personally and we'll think, oh, it's me. There's something weird about me. There's something wrong about me. No, just anytime someone does that, anytime somebody does that to you, really all it is an opportunity for you to go deeper in yourself. Okay, maybe somebody is triggered you, maybe they got you, because that's usually how it works. You know what I mean? It's usually, sometimes, like, for whatever reason, people will try to trigger you, and they somehow, just in the consciousness, it's like they know right where to poke you. They know right where it's vulnerable. And so if you're triggered by that, that's when the opportunity for you is to be like, okay, how can I lean in deeper to myself? Is there a lesson? Is there a message? If you're triggered by some comment somebody made about you, there's obviously a lesson and a message. And it doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means, you know, maybe you need to be, I don't know, maybe there's something you could be stronger. Maybe there, whatever it is, but don't get into the guilt. That's not my point. It's not about being guilty. It's never about being like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. They were right. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I do look stupid, whatever that is, that's a bunch of bullshit. It's more like, just, okay, I was triggered by this. What's the lesson? Keep moving. That's what I'm saying. Be like water. Running water never grows stale. Flow, flow, move, move, move. Get up off of that thing, I posted something like that on Instagram. If you saw, with that beautiful song, James Brown, Get Up Off of That Thing. I would literally play it right now if I wouldn't get a copyright strike. But go listen to that song, because if you get stuck on something, that song will help you dance away from it. Um, literally and figuratively. Just keep moving. So, anyways, as I was saying, um, so when you're you, there's gonna be a few things that tend to happen. Is one, you're gonna feel fucking awesome, in a way. It's like you're gonna be you. It's a practice as well, because many of us have been so conditioned since a young age to not be us, because it's too much. It's too weird. People are jealous. I literally had people jealous of me in kindergarten that literally tried to attack my whole life in kindergarten. Like, gosh, isn't that crazy? And I'm not saying it's not about being a victim. It's just observing. It's like, once you understand what I'm saying, you don't take this stuff personally. It's like, it doesn't have anything to do with you ever. When people are just being hateful, constructive criticism is one thing, but when people are just being hateful towards you, it's not about you. And if it does trigger you, then there's something you need to work on. But that's it. It's like you always, that's another, and we're going to get to the inner work. Inner work and healing is going to be the last pillar of this talk today that we're going to go into. I feel like we talk about that a lot, but that's what that's about. You're not being in projected states, projecting onto people. But anyways, let me finish what I'm saying here. So when you really are you, I am Regan Keely. I am who I am. This is who I am. This is what I stand for, unapologetically. You know, few things that will start to happen is some and again, just speaking from my experience, is one, there's probably going to be people in your life, if this is new for you just start standing in your power and being who you are. There probably might be people in your life that aren't gonna like it. They don't, they are, maybe they've are used to the meek version of you that just rolls over, or they can manipulate you, or whatever the case may be. So you're probably going to have people, like people say 3D, you're going to probably have people in your 3D life that are going to be like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why are you saying this? Why are you being so bright? Why are you being spiritual? Why are you saying these crazy things about 5D, all these metaphysical things that 3D people don't really understand? It's just going to happen. You're probably going to have people in your life. It might be family, it might be friends, it might be people that were in your life for a long time that are literally going to be like, again, that's when it gets into like the literal matrix. You could say, like, an analogy for like Agent Smith. And it's nothing personal. I'm not trying to judge 3D people, but it's just a fact. They're literally going to see you and they're going to be triggered. People are going to be triggered by you when you're in your light. It's just a fact. It's just like, it's just how it is. It's not personal. You don't need to beat yourself up about it, and you don't need to beat them up about it either. It's not personal. But just be ready for that, because that will happen. There will be people that they won't get you. They won't understand you. It's not your job to please them. It's your job to start being who you are. And if they can't take it, then you probably don't want them in your life. That's how I see it. And it's such a relief. It's such a relief to get the people like that out of your life. Just saying. And I say that with all my love. Um, if you have people where it's like they want to play out this dynamic with you, where you're gonna be this fake version of yourself playing small for them, and then they're gonna be them, and usually there's drama involved. What a relief it is to just take that off. Again, in my opinion, being as respectful and as graceful as you can towards yourself and towards them. But what a relief it is. What a relief it is to like um, let those people go that are not willing to see you. And I've really been experiencing this a lot right now, where I've let go of a lot of people, almost all the people in my old life. Um, and it happened quite naturally. It's not like I was saying, like, hey, you need to get out of my life. It's like I just started showing up as who I am, and people just started falling away. Some people maybe were a little confrontational about it, but it's just a natural process. And the real ones, and there's a saying, like, I can't remember how it goes, but it's something like, the people you say no to, when you say no to people, that's how you know the people who like really got your back. Because when you say no to someone and they get it, you know what I mean, then it's like they really have love for who you are. Oftentimes, if you say no and somebody's like trying to like freak out on you, I'm not saying they don't necessarily love in their weird way, because we have to have compassion for people, because the reason we're all in this mess is because people are so traumatized, you know? It's like, have compassion for that. But again, you can't let that be an excuse for to let people walk all over you. It's a middle path. Literally, you know, speaking of duality, Leah brought up duality. You have to understand duality to understand anything in this world. There's always duality. There's always going to be these two extremes in every single way, you know, red and blue. So it's like the key oftentimes is to find that middle path. That's the path of mastery. You don't have to, you know, be a total, you know, asshole at people, but you don't need to, you know, you don't want to be too, you really don't want to be too nice either. You really can't be like too nice to people because then people are going to manipulate you. It's just how it is. You have to walk that fine line. Hopefully that makes sense because this is something I think about a lot, you know, and I really have had to contemplate on it a lot. But anyways, as I was saying, people are going to fall out of your life and it's going to be a relief. It might be hard at first because like, oh, because you have these stories. Oh, I've known this person for so long though. And you know, they're not there. They're not going to be there anymore. It's like, if they don't if they have anything but love for you, you know, and again, it's like, you got to be patient with people. Nobody's perfect. I'm not saying that, but you know, if they have anything but love for you and they won't accept who you are and who you're becoming, if they really won't accept who you are, that's like the key right there. They have people who have love for you and they will accept who you are and becoming. Those are usually the people that will stay in your life. But if they really don't, again, not beating them up, you know, it's just people have, so people like that, they have their own bandwidth they're able to function at. But yeah, it's a relief. It really is. It's a relief because you don't want to play in those patterns. You know what I mean? When you get to this point, you don't want to keep. I sure the hell don't. It's like, I don't want to keep playing in these disempowering patterns. It's not good for me and it's not good for them. So people will fall out of your life when you start being who you are. And it's a blessing. Just let them. Just let them. Don't hold on to that stuff. It's a blessing because this is where the next part comes in. All those people start to fall away. You start to find your own internal validation, your own God source, your own unconditional love, all of these things within you. You start to find all of this stuff within you. And that's a key component. Then when you start doing that, soul family starts to show up. And this soul family is like, I think it's the best thing ever. I think it's like the best thing I've ever experienced. I'm serious. I've experienced so many awesome things. But when you start having people come into your life that see you for who you are, that love you for who you are, that aren't trying to change you, that aren't trying to force you to fit in their little box, people that really have respect and love for you. And you don't have to explain yourself all the time. You don't have to worry about all this stuff that we're used to worrying about in relationships of the past. It's a whole new ball game. I'm telling you, soul family is where it's at. It's literally the best thing ever. You know, and I'll even share like a personal tidbit is like, you know, when I was growing up, I had a lot of friends. I was like, again, maybe it's my inner Aquarian. Aquarian, again, that's one of the things of Aquarius is friendship. I had a lot of friends. I was always with my friends. My friends were my life. I was never even really interested in romantic. I was always with my friends. It was literally my life. It was my greatest joy, was hanging out with friends, one of my greatest joys. And so when I went through this process and I lost damn near all of my friends, truly like fell away. And again, it was in a way, it was kind of hard, but then at the same time, like it was just such a blessing because I realized like, no judgment to them, but it was keeping me in a lower octave. You know, it was keeping me in this octave of, you know, first of all, nothing spiritual. Anything spiritual was like either not understood or straight up mocked into this, in this, you know, typical realm of, I don't know, drama, gossip, just things that are not soul fulfilling to me. You know what I mean? Anyways, so I went from that to always being with friends to like having like, I'm being a little dramatic here. I can't say I had no friends, but very few friends. And I really had no drive to make friends. I think a lot of us went through this period. I specifically like 2020, 2021 went through a cleansing period like this. And I had no interest. I was like, man, it's like, this is a mess. Like, maybe it's just like, I don't even need friends. Like, this is like, friends are stressing me out. Like, it's kind of nice to not have It's honestly, in a way, it's almost better to have no friends than to have friends that are gonna like constantly be pulling you into some bullshit. Because then it's like you're free. When you don't have friends that are constantly pulling you into some bullshit, then you can become whoever you want to become, and you're not gonna have people, in your ear, like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that," or, "Oh," you know what I mean? It's weird. It's like you can't because it's like a natural thing where like people like that, or if you're around them a lot, they're just gonna pull you down. It's like it just can't be. Like you just can't be around people like that more and more. If they're willing to grow, it's like you can be patient with them if you're willing. It's like you can be, that's something for me. I am, there's people in my life that they might not be at this level, but they're willing to grow and they do have love for me. You know, they're not on some crazy narcissistic stuff. Like they do have love for me, even if they don't necessarily understand what I'm talking about. For me, I'll be very, very patient with those people personally. But I'm talking about people that like will actually like whether they mean to or not. A lot of times they don't mean to, but it's just, they'll just try to pull you back down. So it's like when you don't it's literally better to have no friends than to have people in your life like that. It really is. Um but anyways, but then, so I've had that experience where it's like I'm always around people and then now I have like no friends. I have some friends, I always have friends. I'm very blessed. I have people in my life I can go to. But again, it just wasn't a priority to me. But now, really, more and more, it's like soul families coming in strong. You know, again, I feel like I've always had soul family. I'm being a little dramatic here, but it is a pretty big shift because now it's like I have soul family coming in strong, and I can't emphasize how different that is. I can't emphasize what a blessing that is. You have friends? I'm like, "Oh my god, friends." Like, wow. I mean, I always have friends, but like to just have like start to have like such a wide variety of like spiritual people that again, they see me for who I am. They don't expect me to be a certain way. They don't need me to be a certain way to please their egos. All of this old 3D stuff, it's like they see me, they honor me, they respect me for who I am, and I respect them. It's a whole new type of relationship. It's a whole new type of being. You know what I mean? And it's like I feel like I have such an abundance of these types of people in my life now. Oh my gosh, and it's such a blessing, and I just want to encourage everyone. We all have soul family. We all have soul tribes. Like literally, we all have these people in our life. Maybe some of you are meeting them. Maybe you're meeting them online. Eventually, it's like I think we got to meet physically. I think that will happen. I think that's definitely a big part. But anyways, they will come into your life. And if you're wondering when are they going to come into my life? Well, first of all, again, you know, it's like about being who you are, letting go of the people who aren't in love, have love for you, and just focusing on yourself. That's a key part that a lot of people don't want to hear, but it's true because that's what we have to do is focus on ourselves. And then as we do that, when you start to reach certain points and certain junctions in your life, maybe it's going to be one person, maybe it's going to be your divine partner, maybe it's going to be a beautiful soul sister, a beautiful soul brother, like people you just know. You just can't explain it. And it would sound crazy to anyone, but you just know. You just both know, like, we just recognize each other. It's really, really incredible. And then you just start to have this relationship with like people that actually want to support you for who you are, like no strings attached. You know, it's like it's so amazing, you guys, and it feels so weird. It does. It's very different because it's nothing like the 3D relationships. It's like we really get to be who we are. We really get to have fun with each other. I think it's going to be a process of learning. Um, even that how to be with each other, even though it's a lot easier than the 3D, it's like we still are going to learn, how to respect each other, how to stand up for ourselves, how to listen to people and not try to like step on people's toes, because when I meet soul family, I'm like, wow, this is amazing, nothing but love and respect, and even though we may not always agree on things, it's like, you know what I mean? It's okay. It's like we can navigate that with so much more grace and integrity and love and it's just a whole new way of being, you guys, because it's like you're with spiritual people that they're at that level where they know they're not gonna like just be projecting this crazy ass shit on you like some people do. You know what I mean? In the Matrix, people will just like project this crazy ass shit on you, and many of us have taken that on personally, even though it's really not personal. But when you get to meet soul family, it's just different. I'm telling you guys, like I said, there was a point probably in like 2020, 2021 where I'm like, man, do I even like, I don't even need friends. Like this stuff is like too stressful for me. But I can tell you right now, like, no, like soul family, soul friends, this literally I think is probably, and of course like divine partners as well. That to me, that just counts as soul family. That's like, that's worth everything. That's worth all the hardship and the struggle we've been through, period. It's worth it. It's literally, it just feels so good. I think I've made my point with that. I just want to inspire people. Maybe you've experienced this, you've been experiencing this, or you will start to experience this because 2023 and onward, I just feel this intuitively. This is when we start to build community. You know, we've kind of been building community, but it just intuitively, it feels like it's been kind of premature, because everybody has had to really focus on themselves. And now onward, I truly feel like this is going to be when we really start to see a lot more communities, really like thriving communities of spiritual people, again, online and in person, you know, just so beautiful. And even now, it's like, even if you think, well, I don't know if I really have much soul family, it's like you're listening to me, it's like you resonate with me. It's like you have love for me, I have love for you. Even people like that, even people online, do you ever, to me, it's like I'm very intuitive. So like, again, I love all, honor all, respect all, but there's certain people, whether it's people I see on YouTube or like certain healers or certain clients, certain friends, certain people, even in the comments, there's certain people that it's just, there are certain connections, again, loving all, there's always something to learn from people, but there's certain things, connections that right away, you just feel it. Like it's weird, but it's true. It's like you just feel it right away. It's like, oh yeah, like me and this person go way back, maybe it's past lives, maybe it's beyond this earth, maybe it's everything, maybe it's both, whether you even know what it is or you don't, you just intuitively know, like when you really resonate with someone and they really bring out that joy and that love and that fun and that laughter, that spirit within you, it's effortless. That's how you know that's soul family. And even though we would all love to be physically surrounded in soul family right now, and there will come a point where we will do that 100%, just be grateful for where you are now, because even the fact that we're connecting, even the fact that I get to sit here and speak to people from all over the country and all over the world, really, literally through space and time, we are very blessed and we are making monumental steps. We're able to connect. It's like, oh yeah, I experience that too, I feel that too, you're not alone. Just keep going on your journey, you're not alone. And yeah, that's the beauty. So it's okay. There's relationships that are going to fall away, but there's going to be relationships that are going to come in that are going to literally just blow your mind. They're going to blow your heart open. It's going to be like, wow. It's just so awesome because that's what we want to get to, right? It's like, because then it's like, it's so nice to know, you have to be able to stand in your own corner always. You have, and that's really what it is. You got to get to the point where you really can stand in your own corner and you're not going to shrink and cower around other people, even if they like try to come at you. But then when you get to that level and you start to have soul family, and you can stand in your own corner, but you also know there's people that got your back. That feels really, really good because we can't do this alone. Really, it's like this is something we all have to come together to do, and that's truly the divine order of what's happening. But there's people that got your back, and then you start to have their backs. And again, this ties back to the very first tip of unconditional love and integrity. You know, have the people that you love to learn to have their backs. That's really, really important. It's important to express gratitude, and it's important to have their backs as much as you can. Again, I'm not saying break your back or sacrifice yourself if you have nothing to give, but if you are at the point where you have something to give, it's really important to stand up for the people you love however you can. It's really, really important to do that. That's another thing we lose in the Matrix. It's like we will just allow ourselves to be disrespected, or allow people to disrespect the people we love. And to me, part of being in your integrity is standing up for yourself and standing up for the people that have helped you. Stand up for the people that have inspired you, the people that have guided you, the people that love you, that you love. Stand up for them. Stand up for them. Again, have a backbone. I feel like that is another thing that I see lacking a lot, is people are too scared to stand up for themselves and to stand up for others. But that is the 5D energy, is having integrity and standing up for yourself and standing up for others, standing up for the people you love. If you have somebody who you really love, when you see somebody attacking them, hopefully not physically, but whether it's physically or verbally, it's like there's a lot of integrity in, again, not having to be rude, but keeping it real and standing up for people. Stand up for the people you love. It's really important. A lot of people are too scared to do that. And I got to tell you, it's important. It is important. It's important to have each other's back. So, is that everything? Oh, the last one. Almost an hour and a half in, and we're finally at the last one. I told you guys, this is why they only gave me 5 tips. Because it's like, literally make like 100 tips. And that would literally be ridiculous, because each tip has like 5 sub tips. So the last one, and this one I think is the most intuitive, but of course I have to say it, is again, the inner work, the healing, the guidance. And I kind of started this right off the bat, so I keep this one short because I started this one right off the bat, and we talk about this a lot. But again, you want to access these higher states, you want to cultivate these higher states, you want to feel heaven on earth from the inside out. It really comes down to your inner work and healing. People will be like, ascension, building community, starting a healing retreat, all of these beautiful, fantastic ideas. And then, but if you really translate them to reality, you might just see inner work, inner work, inner work, inner work, inner work. Like, just, it's all inner work. Like, again, healing our traumas, whether it's in our field, something in our past life, something in our childhood trauma, something in our ancestral lineage, something in the collective, whatever's coming up. Just be a source of love, and you'll naturally transmute. You know what I mean? But it's also, I think it's important to not shy away from the inner work, to not shy away from stuff's going to come up, you guys. That's what I'm trying. That's like my biggest goal in these videos. I feel like right now is just to explain, well, to navigate first and foremost and understand myself, and also to explain, this really beautiful, important balance of, it's emotional intelligence. It's not something any of us are taught, really. It's something we really have to learn for ourselves. And one day, if we can reach this point where we can actually teach our children, how beautiful would that be? We can actually teach our children how to have emotional intelligence instead of just burying the pain like we do in our society, or just taking pills about the pain or whatever, just literally like, we really, again, we really, a lot of the reason we suffer is because many of us don't have emotional intelligence. We haven't been taught that. So we have to learn it. And a big part of that, doing that inner work, in my experience, is when things arise, when trauma arises, whether it's something happening outside of you and it triggers you, or whether it just comes in within you, when uncomfortable or very painful, very dense emotions arise, learning how to navigate that with love and grace for yourself and for others. And ultimately, again, for me, it comes down to allowing it to come in. You don't want to resist it, not resisting it, not suppressing it, allowing it to come in, confronting it. It's like welcoming it in for tea. It's a fine balance as well. Don't resist it. Don't resist it, but at the same time, like, you don't need to you don't need to completely dwell in it either. You know what I mean? It's that balance of let it come in. It's emotions, energy in motion. If you resist it, it gets stuck in your magnetic field. If you breathe it in, breathe it out, breathe it in, breathe it out, breathe it in, breathe it out. It might take 5 minutes. It could take 5 days, but if you really let it flow, a lot of times it actually won't take nearly as long. It doesn't take that long, even really dense things. Let it in, let it out. Like Ashman was talking about, tears. Tears is a beautiful way of release. That's one of the greatest ways I release. And I have absolutely no shame about that. I'm very emotionally, like, open. Like, there's no It's like, I feel something swelling in me, I'm not gonna keep that shit in because I know it has to come out. What comes up, gotta come out, you know? Um, so it's really important to have that emotional intelligence because that's how we release trauma. When things come up, whatever it is, anger, jealousy, pain, fear, doubt, unworthiness, you don't want to keep smushing it back down because it has to come up and be transmuted. And what is transmutation? It's not only healing, it's transformation. So not only do you, when you do this work and you feel these things and you have compassion for yourself and you allow yourself to have this experience, let these things come in and breathe them out, feel them, allow them. There's nothing wrong with them. Process them, let them be, and then let them go. You know when to let them go. You don't need to dwell in it. You don't need to dwell in it for the rest of your life. It's just let it in and let it out, let it go. And you know when, you don't just cry forever. You cry and there comes a point when you have no more tears to cry. Again, it might, if it's something deep, maybe it is a lot of tears, but eventually you just cry it out. And eventually there's not going to be any tears left to cry. It's done. It's gone. Okay. And then that's when it's time for the lesson and the reflection and the peace. And what I was going to say before, what is transmutation? It's not even just healing it. You're literally transforming it into gold because those dense experiences that the harder and the denser it is, I promise you, I'm not just telling you this to make you guys feel better. The denser it is, the more powerful of a gift it's going to be if you just see it through. You just have to see it through. And I'm telling you, it's going to be such a powerful gift, such an essential nugget of wisdom, of love, that you need it. It's medicine. It's actually medicine. Sometimes the medicine hurts, but let it out. That's the emotional intelligence part of the inner work, because so much of why people suffer is because they don't know how to deal with their emotions, and it's so simple. If people only knew how simple it is, you know, to just breathe it in, to just feel it. I know it's intense. If sometimes it feels like it's going to kill you, but it's not. It's just an emotion. It's not going to kill you. Men or women, just let it come in, breathe it in, feel it out. You might have to cry, you might have to breathe, you might have to dance. That's why I encourage dancing, shaking it out. Exercise. It's literally called exercise. I mean, come on, you're literally exercising demons, literally, when you do that. Like, whatever you got to do to stop resisting it and let it move through you, and then let it go out. Just keep moving. Let it in and let it out. It will be transmuted, you know? Hopefully that makes sense because you want to not resist it at all. But at the same time, like, it's that duality. It's finding that balance. You want to not resist it at all, but then you also don't want to like get stuck and dwell on it and get bitter about it because it's about emotions. The mind will try to attach stories to things. Well, he said that. Well, she said that. Well, I've had this issue since my childhood, so I'm just going to keep having it. Don't even go there. Sometimes you don't even need to go there. Like, that's something that's been coming in really strong for me because I'm at this point now where I don't resist my emotions. I let them in. It's a practice. Like I said before, like everything, it's a practice. You learn how to do this. You you get the opportunity to learn how to do this for yourself, and you let it in and you let it move through you. And it's simple, and you feel it fully, but you don't have to get stuck on it. You just keep moving. Again, this is the last thing I'll say on this. This is what really causes a lot of the problems is the feedback loops. So people feel something and then they don't know what to do about it. They don't have this emotional intelligence I'm talking about. And so then they literally loop on it. It's a feedback loop, so you feel fear. Oh, okay, I feel fear. Now I'm scared. I'm scared of this. I'm feeling fear about the fear about the fear. And you can literally, that's the shit that's like, that is so dense that I feel like when you understand this, you don't have to do that. Because once you understand that fear comes in, it's not discouraging. It's not scary. It's just fear. It's just fear. You're going to feel it in your body and it's going to move through you. And this is why it's multidimensional because it's like you're feeling it. You're having that human experience fully. And it's temporary. And it's gonna move through you. And you're an eternal soul that is literally invincible, you know? Even though in one aspect you might feel like you're about to die because your heart is so broken open, at the same time, your higher self is right there, infinite and eternal, and supporting you and letting that move through you. Because that's the thing is once that comes out of you, it's so good. It's so good, you guys. That's why I never hold in my emotions, you know. Um, obviously I try to again be graceful about it if I can. Like I don't it's not about going off on people or causing any emotional scene about it if you can help it, but not holding this stuff in like within yourself. Like really allow it to come in because when you learn how to do this with grace, again, letting it come in and letting it come out, so simple. Just let that energy move through you. Don't attach stories to it. Don't get stuck on it. It's just energy. It's emotion is just energy. It's just feeling. Feel it. Let it go. Don't fear it. Don't attach to it. Don't get stuck on it. Don't resist it either, though. Just all these things, the more we confront it head on, and that's again where the bravery comes in. The more we just confront it head on, the more blessed we are. Because that's what I'm saying is that's the inner work. Because once you release this stuff, you literally will feel 10 pounds lighter, and you might actually get 10 pounds lighter. Like that's actually how people lose weight, because a lot of times weight is just another expression of you know repressed emotions physically, so it's like you feel so good when you do that. And everything, again, this is the last thing I'll say on it. Everything comes down to the inner work, really. Everything you're trying to manifest, everything you're trying to experience, everything you're trying to create, it's always the inner work piece. Remember that, because that's how your soul sees it. That's how your soul's perspective is. Your soul is like, how can we get the most out of this? To learn and to evolve and to expand ourselves and all of humanity, right? Because all of humanity is also one, and one individual's evolution will affect other souls' evolutions. It's all intricately connected. Whew, that was a lot. That was a lot. See what I mean? It's like almost been 2 hours, and it doesn't feel like 2 hours. So that's everything. Again, I'll just kind of quickly conclude here is the one, unconditional love, having that love for yourself first and then others, having integrity. Integrity, so important, key. If you take anything away, take that. Cultivating unconditional love and integrity. Boom. 2, relentlessly pursuing your greatest joy. Relentlessly pursuing your freedom, your love, your joy, your gratitude. Relentlessly relentlessly blessing yourself. I don't know why that just want to come in, but yeah, so amazing. 3, doing having faith, having courage, having grit, having guts, having a backbone, having fortitude, taking risks, making tough choices, knowing when to jump, jumping when it's time to jump. Stop being so scared and clinging to the old reality. Just jump, just do it. Jump out of your comfort zone. You'll be so blessed for it, because you could spend the rest of your life playing it safe. You can spend the rest of your life locked in a room. Doesn't that sound scary? Like, you could spend the rest of your life locked in a room having never gone out of your comfort zone. To me, that's way scarier than failure. That's way scarier than the unknown. That's way scarier than anything I can possibly imagine, is being stuck. Come on out. You know what to do. And then the next one is not caring what people think about you. Not caring what people think about you. Such a big one. It will only hold you back. Who cares what people are going to think about you? Not everybody's going to see you. Not everybody's going to understand you. Not everybody's going to like you. It's okay. We're not here to appease everybody's egos. We're here to be who we are authentically. And that's how we assist humanity. That's how we assist ourselves. That's how we let go of these relationships that no longer serve us. If they're leaving, you don't need them. And when you do that, that's when soul family comes in. That's when soul family comes in, and that's the greatest gift of it all. And the last one is doing the inner work, doing the healing, And that's when you start to get more and more, you get that guidance, that inner guidance, that intuition, following that intuition, following that guidance. So important. That's another key. Follow your intuition. We're so programmed to not follow our intuition. It's like we have to follow our intuition. And yeah, start to keep developing that emotional intelligence, because emotional intelligence, I mean, when you have that immediately cuts back on a lot of your suffering, a lot of unnecessary pain and suffering, when you just know how to navigate your emotions and your thoughts without self-sabotaging everything. I think many of us are programmed that way. It's like to just beat ourselves up. You're not helping anyone when you're beating yourself up. You're not helping anyone. So stop it. Just stop it. All right. And then before I go, I'm gonna read these chat. I wasn't able to tune anyone with the chat as much as I usually do, because I just was so on this flow, But love you all so much, so grateful. I'm so excited. I kind of was looking as much as I could, but I'm so thankful. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for coming here. I'm gonna take a little peek at this chat as much as I can. So many beautiful things. And we'll have a little breath, a little integration circle, and then we will be on our way. So thank you all for the love and the support in the comments. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Brett, for the beautiful super chat. So appreciative. 5577. Really good number there. I've been seeing a lot of sevens lately. Thank you so much. It really helps. Just so encouraging. It goes a long way. And oops, where am I? Yeah, and thank you again, Eternal Truth and Transcode du Jour, and just so grateful for this amazing support. Thank you, Recluse. Oh my God, thank you. You guys are amazing. I love you all so much. Truly thankful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't explain it enough. It really is an honor. I don't know if I can even keep up with all these comments. They're so awesome. I don't want to miss anyone, but thank you all. Thank you, Ashman. Tears are a love waterfall. Yeah, it's been intense. The solar flares have been so intense, you guys. You feel that? It's like, wow. And then 2023 is a 7. Numerologically, it's a 7. So 7 is often, they say 7 is the number of spirit. So I think many of us, this is the year of like merging with our spirit on our path. And it's really, really exciting. Homework. We have been crying so much. Drink a gallon of water and minerals every day. So family. Yes, beautiful. And it goes in line with the Aquarius energy, the water bearer, like psh, bearing that water. Thank you, Leah. I love everything. I love this, what you guys have been talking about. I've been kind of like keeping an eye on it, but I'm just so thankful for you guys loving each other, supporting each other, and all of this. We are killing it. We're doing great. It's amazing. Arcade Alchemist, Leah, Big Sky, Ashman, Brett Green, the Dobermans. Yeah. Emotions must flow. The Chatty Eye Jim. Beautiful. The Art of Arts. Thank you. Wow. I am honored. I'm glad this was helpful. I'm glad this was uplifting. It was meant to be. Go ahead and jump. The Dobermans, exactly. Adversity builds our character. Yes. That's another thing, too. And this is, I mean, I've already said this, but it's just another way to say it. It's just I keep noticing this thing where it's like, again, it's like we're so programmed to have like a knee-jerk reaction to when contrast arises. For example, we notice ourselves doing something we don't like about ourselves or something. Oh, I'm doing this. It's like, it's such a weird thing. It's like we're so programmed to have like a knee-jerk reaction and then just beat ourselves up about it and feel guilt about it. But what if you saw it from another perspective where it's like you're always evolving and growing, so as you continue to raise your consciousness and learn, you're going to notice yourself always doing behaviors that no longer work. So instead of thinking I'm a piece of shit, why am I doing that? No, you don't have to be so hard on yourself. It's like, oh, I was doing this before. I just did it. I didn't even know I was doing it. And then now you see yourself doing it. It stings a bit. It's like, oh yeah, I don't really like that anymore. It's okay. Then you just learn. You see it. You observe it. So now you can learn how to not do that anymore. It's not a big deal. It's okay. You're always going to be doing that. On higher and higher levels, you're always going to be doing that. So we might as well make peace with ourselves and learn, to just flow with it. It's okay. It's okay. You're always going to be growing. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's growing pains. As Carl Jung says, um, there is no coming into higher consciousness without pain. That's true. But it doesn't have to be like it doesn't always have to be like this jarring pain. It can be like a little sting, like just a little, oh, I observed myself doing that. I don't want to do that anymore. Okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. Or something like that. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Instead of like seeing yourself doing something you don't like and then just like thinking there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. We're all evolving massively, massively. So just be more compassionate with yourself. And not only will you feel better, but, you know, it's like you'll start to spiral upward even faster because you don't need to dive into the trenches of self-loathing every single time you realize something. You don't need to just go diving into the trenches of beating yourself up and hating on yourself every time you make a mistake, or don't even make a mistake. Every time you know what I mean? It's like anytime anything remotely undesirable arises, it's like how apt we are to just like dig into ourselves. It's like, but is that really necessary? Is it really necessary? It's really not. Once you know it's not necessary, just keep moving, keep grooving. I could talk forever. Olivia, hello, Olivia, currently jumping. I will get back to you. So thankful for you. You are so beautiful. I literally got your telepathic facts. I don't even know why, but I mean, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's meant to be. Big sky. Thank you, Leah. You are so beautiful. You are so beautiful. I don't know if Bianca's still here. I did see you pop in a little bit. It's good to see you, beautiful soul sister. So grateful. The art of arts. I've been traumatized since kindergarten and getting in trouble, and I've literally never really talked to anybody at school. I really regret it because I can't develop social relationships. I want to. Beautiful. Yeah, I want to move on. Even just that awareness is so powerful because, think of it. Before, you were just doing it. You didn't even know. You didn't even know you were doing it. So that's what I mean. Once you see it, it stings a little bit. It's like, oh, yeah, I have trauma. I've been doing this pattern. I've been doing this thing. It stings a little bit. But you can either beat yourself up like, oh yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing a good job. I'm not a good person. I really messed up. Or you can go and you can just take it and you can be like, wow, that's true. I've seen that. It does sting a little bit, but now I know why. And now I see something new and I have a new perspective and I can take the steps to start to transform it. You can't change something if you know what I mean. You can't get out of something if you don't even know you're in it. If you don't even know you're doing something that is like self-destructive in any way, if you don't even know you're doing it, it's really hard to get out of it. It might be possible, but when you see it, again, it stings, but that's when you can get out of it. So I love you so much. I honor your bravery. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, so beautiful. Thank you all so much again, Leah, Brett, Ashman, Big Sky, just letting it flow. Recluse, thank you again for your beautiful donation. So awesome. I could listen forever. I feel like I could talk forever. I've been really quiet the last couple days, so maybe that's why I've been like saving it up. It's so good to sometimes like just, I don't know. Stand up for the inner child when the ego wants to complain and blame. BK Broiler. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Leah says, can't make a cake without breaking some eggs. Yeah, that's a good analogy. I like that. Just listening to you helps awaken so much truth in me. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful, you know. It's like it wouldn't be what it is without all of you beautiful souls to contribute and to receive and to, you know what I mean? This is the beauty of community and sharing, because it's like, you know, I don't know. It's just, it's beyond words. I could get lost in a whole other tangent, but you never know. Just you sharing your love and your experiences, how that might affect someone, and then what that person might go on to do with those codes, with those light codes, because it's literally what it is. It's literally codes. Brett says, one of my favorite comments is from Admiral Nimitz. If you aren't making waves, you aren't underway. Love it. Yeah, exactly. You gotta, what is it called? Gotta shake, you gotta rattle some feathers to shake off those tethers. Gotta rattle some feathers sometimes. Okay, okay. Thank you all again. So much love and honor to you all. I hope you know I really love and respect all of you so much. And so grateful. Leah is in England. I want to go to England. I had a dream about Avalon and it was like really powerful. It was like, oh wow, okay. Really excited for that. So I've been having a lot of synchronicities with England lately, which isn't a place I would have expected. Um, yeah, England. I want to go to Ireland, and of course Egypt and Greece, especially. Many places, but those places are really on my eye right now. Okay. Yes. So thank you all for hanging with me. Let's just have like one little breath here, if you can. Take a moment to just breathe. I know you're all been breathing and we've all been just flowing and having so much fun, heart activating conversations. And just let's just integrate this energy by breathing in, charging our magnetic field, right? Just filling it with this light, with this white light, with this golden light, whatever color that resonates with you. Just filling it with this love and this light. Feeling all the love in this stream from all of us coming together. The power of true community, of true unity, the power of the love, the power of the truth, the power of the presence. It's all right here, right now. Feeling that in your heart doesn't just feel so good. This is the love that's going to change the world. This is the love that there's no threat to it. It's just so immensely eternal and infinite. Just feel it. Feel it in your heart. Just feel your heart space. If you can, put your hand on your heart. Just feel that warm, glowing sensation. Just feel that love and know that I'm sending you all so much love. Just feel it bursting and blessing you. And allow this now to expand into your whole body, into every single cell of your body, into your head, into your stomach, into your spine, into your legs, and into your arms and hands and fingers. Just moving so freely and blessing you with this light. And feel it filling up your whole aura, your whole magnetic field, blessing you just all around you. It's like a big force field of love light. It's invincible. We intend it's invincible. We are sovereign. We are empowered. We are love. We are light. We are strong. We are infinite. We are beautiful. We are worthy of all the love of God, and we know it. Trust it, know it, be it, feel it, see it, hear it. It is. Breathing it in, giving thanks, giving gratitude to all the beautiful love and divine beings that are here. So much assistance, so much guidance, so much gratitude, so much power. It truly is so, so, so beautiful. I pray that we all are blessed today and every day, continuing to find our light, to find our joy, to find these incredible states of consciousness, to forgive ourselves and others, to start finding soul family. I pray that we all start finding our soul tribes and soul families more and more, inspiring us, uplifting us, supporting us. encouraging us to be who we are unapologetically, to be untethered from all the old systems and matrix, to be free, to be sovereign, to be in our love and joy, to build the new earth, to birth the new earth, bringing it forward, being the trailblazers that we really, really are, that we all are, trailblazing, pioneering, stepping forward, daring to be brave, daring to believe in ourselves, daring to trust in God, daring to know ourselves and what we are capable of as infinite creator beings with love in our hearts. Taking one last breath to just soak it all in and know that you always have this power and this love within you every moment of every day, no matter what. You are the ascension. I love you all so much. We are all so blessed from this and continue to culminate these blessings and these miracles. Again, I wish the highest love and joy and freedom and sovereignty for all of you, for all of us. And I hope you just have the most beautiful rest of your day or night and all days. And so it is. All right. Bye, everyone. We'll see you next time. Love you all so much love. Keep being you. So proud of all of you. Bye, everyone.